Hi, welcome to The Truth of the Matter Is with Mary and Pam. We are so happy that you are taking time out of your busy schedule to go along with us as we talk about the issues that affect us in our community and in our nation. So, Pam, what we got today that we need to really emphasize?
There is so much going on in the world today that we just can begin anywhere. One of the things that I think is very important that we need to make note of is the execution that taken place here in the state Tuesday in the state of Missouri of Marcellus Williams, who was convicted in 98. He was 55 years old, and he was convicted in spite of the fact that there were
no evidence,
objections right from the prosecutor, no evidence. The family wanted at least not to do the execution and do life in prison, but the execution took place. So there was doubt and there was really widespread opposition to this execution, and so I have a troubled heart.
Right, and Parson has been pro. He has not pardoned anyone.
No, it's just another lynching of a black man.
For black men, it is so easy for them to say that they have done whatever it is, whether they have the evidence or not. And you know what? We are at a point in our society. We talked about Martin Luther King's speech, or a dream, or a nightmare, and I feel that we're living in the nightmare, of his dream. His dream has in no way been realized. We talked about some things moving forward as far as civil rights is concerned, but it went so far and it did just like it did in the past. And how many times since I've been president of the NAACP have I said to the NAACP and to the audience that we were talking to, remember what happened. Remember that we had senators. Remember that we have representatives in high places in Washington, D.C. And remember, how with the Louisiana Purchase and all that, it was so quickly turned around. And we are at this point right now. We have this person that's running for president, and he and his vice that's running have no shame about and have no conscience about how they spur on the hate in this country by showing how they feel about people of color. They think that the African American people, the Haitian immigrants, and people have no place in these United States. So we are all immigrants. They are immigrants. They weren't just here. They migrated here and they were accepted. And now they want to people of color. It is people of color, and we have to be really plain about that. That they are just assassinating with words and having those people afraid for their children to go to school and that sort of thing because of the hatefulness.
Well, and that's what's happening all across the country. That's what happened with the lynching, the lynching of a black man. They had a jury, and they kill me when they say of your peers and not an African American on the jury. A jury of your peers, not one on that. They had lack of evidence, and so they did that. We also had that same thing going on with the Haitians in Ohio. They've accused them of something, and have admitted
that they had no
evidence and that it was untrue, but that how they did not mind making up a lie as long as they could bring attention to whatever cause they had at the time. And so they've admitted that it was untrue, but yet and still the individuals living in that area on that lie are being ridiculed, are being tormented. The kids can't go to school. All of this based upon a lie that's being told
and humiliated
by Vance, and to know that you're doing that and have lack of care simply because they're African American or they have dark colored skin. That's basically what this is all about. And I tell people with everything that's going on now, Project 2025 with all them. People are saying, I don't understand how people can vote for a man that basically has expressed and shown that he's has racist tendencies. How does
that he is a racist?
That he is a racist, but they're saying I don't know how. I'm saying I don't know how people can stand behind somebody like that when they know that this individual feels that way and that he's fused his hate out. And then for me to see African Americans say they would support him in any kind of capacity,
or anybody, and and it's so impressive. One of the things that I am impressed with the number of Republicans that are coming out and really standing up, because they know, they can see what he is bringing to the table. They can see what he's bringing to America. The hate and the fact that he wants to be a king, and if he becomes that he is going to prosecute all of those folks that don't agree with him. They're going to be sending folks to folks' houses,
mass deportation,
mass deportation. All of this stuff that he is proposing to do, and he will have the power to do it. He will have the power to do it. And so we have got to remember what was said by our ancestors the day of old, power concede nothing without a demand. We have to demand our rights. And we have to let folks know that we're demanding our rights and that we are not going to accept being any less than.
Well, and I don't think that Trump or anybody that is spewing all this hate realizes that, this is right now, this stuff is just kind of floating across the top. But when it comes into fruition, if he were to win, nobody's taking that laying down.
Absolutely not.
And so there's going to be a massive change in everyday life for everyone.
Absolutely.
Because nobody is going to just accept that you're black, we're deporting you.
And there was and during the Martin Luther King's era, there were two thoughts. One coming from Dr. King, and the other one coming from Stokely Carmichael. And at that time, even with the country being in the state that it was in, Stokely Carmichael was able to pull people together. And luckily we had Johnson, we had President that helped with the civil rights movement of that time. Stokely Carmichael also saw what was to come. And what people have to understand is that because Dr. King was such a strong leader, that he was able to keep things. He was able to use his non-violent movement to keep things in order. In order. Right now, we've been years since Dr. King, we haven't had that leader that could do that, that has the charisma to do that. And so people are not going to accept, they're not going to accept a situation where we have a president who wants to be king and who will decide that people of color are less than, and are treated as slaves.
Well, people, and for those that don't know, Stokely was over the Black Panthers.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
And for those that may not have known, that he was over the Black Panthers, and they had a dream too.
Yes.
But their dream was an eye for an eye.
Yes.
Their dream was that, you knock me down, I'm gonna knock you down. And they had their weapons to back it. They were
and the FBI came in, and blew them away.
But they were militant. They stood for black folks being treated with respect. And even
at all costs.
At all costs. And we are not, we are at a place now that we are not willing to go back. We're at a whole nother level now. And I don't think that anybody realizes that it's not like it used to be.
Oh, no, it's not.
We have come so far, we're not willing to go back. We are educated. We are not going back. There's things that we just will not accept, and we don't have to.
No.
And I tell people all the time, they're talking about immigrants and all that, but I was born here just like anybody else.
Right.
And so I feel like this is my home.
America belongs to us.
And so I have a problem with them having to even go back and do the Voting Rights Act.
Right.
Why? You know, you should not have to do that, not on my behalf.
Right.
Because I feel like I am just as much American as anyone else. And so when you start attacking me because of the color of my skin, I have a problem with that.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people have a problem with that. And so I don't think that people understand that it's not like it used to be.
And we're not, we need to say this, that we are not preaching violence.
No.
We want peace, and that's what we are trying to do.
Right.
We're trying to say to the majority society is that if we want a peace, we have to all have peace. We have to be peaceful.
Right.
We cannot, power concedes nothing without a demand.
Right.
And we demand our freedom. We demand to be looked at as human beings. We demand to be respected for the knowledge that we have and what we bring to the table.
Right.
And we brought plenty to the table.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
We helped build. It was the middle class. And and I want to say this also, that to the majority community. The majority community are not rich.
Right.
Be you black or white.
Right.
White, the majority are not rich.
Right.
And the rising tide raises all boats. And which means that if things are raised for African American folks, it is raised for middle class white folks also. And that we need to make sure that we let them know. They need to let us know that together we can make the changes that we need to.
Together is the key word.
During the Civil Rights Movement, it was not just accomplished by black folks.
Right.
It was white folks involved that helped us get to where we are. But it took all of us working together to make it happen. And it's going to take all of us working together now. And many of us, one of the things about Columbia, we talk about Missouri. Missouri is a red state. Columbia is not a red state.
Yeah, it's a little blue dot.
Yeah, it's a little blue dot in the middle of a red state. And so we have to be grateful for that. That we have people in Columbia that are willing to work for the peaceful means for everybody to understand that all of us have a place here in Columbia, and we need to work hard to make sure that happens all over. And I know that we're working hard to make sure that happens here in Columbia, and we need all of these other places to know that they can make it happen too. They just have to be willing to work for it.
Have to be willing to work for it. And that means that sometimes you have to stand alone.
And that's
we have situations sometimes when we're going up against something that's wrong, where it's just a couple of people. But yet and still, we take that couple of people and we stand. So they, here in Columbia, they know that if something's not right, that it's going to be addressed.
That's it.
So they try to make sure that they're doing things so that address does not have to take place. But you have to stand firm, and you have to, as my grandmother used to say, you have to stand for something or you'll fall for anything.
That's it. And one of the things that I'm not changing the subject, but kind of shifting a little bit, at the University of Missouri. The situation at the University of Missouri, after the laws were passed concerning affirmative action, we all are very much aware that quickly the University of Missouri changed its status Some of the people in those positions, those positions that encouraged and helped African Americans move along, some of those positions were vacated, because the University of Missouri president got millions of dollars, I think $4.5 million from the legislature, which had not been happening before, because they wanted to do the changes. They were acceptable of the changes that came down from the Supreme Court, where other colleges looked for ways in which to work around that, because they understood that they had a heads up on African American folks, and that for some equity, that they needed to make some changes. So we are in the process of a meeting with the university's president to express our concern, here in Columbia, because it is here in Columbia, and of course, the state's going to be meeting here this weekend, and so we will also be talking about what has happened there. We know that Lincoln University have suffered some of the same kinds of situations that we are suffering now at the University of Missouri, and we have to make sure that we are diligent, that we stay on it, and make sure that these colleges and universities do what they are supposed to do what they need to do, to make sure that our people get the education that they need, so that they can lead our people on into the future. And so we're going to be working very diligently
and to have the job, so that they can see people that look like them,
absolutely,
in positions, and what they've done. And for those that may not kind of got lost of where we are, we're talking about that DEI. That's what they wanted to end at the colleges, and some of the universities worked around that so that they could keep the individuals there working and still visible to the students and accessible. But at the University of Missouri, as soon as it passed, it quickly did away with those positions, and so there was a mass exodus. Behind that, doing away with that, because of that. That was brought up, basically through that Trump stuff with the DEI, and so what we're going to do is address that, and let them know that we're not pleased with that, and we need to see a turnaround with that, because the university not long ago had a situation where the students protested,
and they will again.
And they will again. They turned it around.
They just need a leader.
That's all they need is a leader, and there's leaders there. There's always some. There's always one that will step forward,
and when the
time is needed.
And we are here. The NAACP is here in the community. The university is a part of our community, and a part of our NAACP, and so we are going to support the students. And if the students don't take the lead, then we will take the lead.
That's right. That's right.
Making sure that that the university lives up to what it is supposed to live up to, because we can just no longer sit around and I'm saying to our people, they are expressing, some excitement about the election here in Columbia. And, I'm saying to the people that we have to step up. We have to make things happen, because the NAACP has a slogan, no justice, no peace. And that is a fact with us. I feel very, very strongly about it. Too many people gave their lives and died for me to be sitting here today, to be able to sit here and say what I need to say today. They died for that. And we have to be willing to do whatever it takes to make sure that our children and our grandchildren are free individuals to be able to pursue a happy life of their own. And it is up to us. We cannot sit here and just allow things to go, just moan and groan about the fact where we are.
And let things pass us by.
And let things pass us by. We have to get on it. And we have to be willing to, take, I know that you will get criticism for taking the stance that we take, that we got to do something, that we got to move on. But we got to be willing to take those criticisms, because our people took them. Some people, a whole bunch of Medgar died trying to do voter registration. He died. Martin Luther King died because he was trying to make things better for African American folks. There's so many nameless people that we can't even name.
And we've always let God lead our organization anyway. And so, you know, we always have that, what is that saying? He who kneels before God can stand before anyone. And so we're not afraid to take that lead and stand out there. And so we have to do what we have to do. And we have to encourage our young people to be vigilant and to stand boldly when they're in the right. For what is right.
And what we need to spend a whole lot of time doing is having our young people really zero in on what is happening in our society. Period. I mean, I know there's all the news is not true, there's untrue, but we need to listen. And then we need to make a concerted effort to check out what is being told to us, what's real and what is not real.
That is why it's so important that we don't let them ban the books.
That's our history.
That's our history, and that's what they want to do, is to wipe that out of our minds and not let our young people know of the people that died and the sacrifices that were made on our behalf. And so they want us to listen to the social media and the new creation of the history that they want to put out there as to who we are as a people. And if you look at that, they've got us being looked at in a very negative way.
Absolutely.
And that's the history that they want us to have and want our young people to have. They want our young people to look at themselves and think that we're this way and we're that way. They don't want them to look at the Martin Luther Kings and the Rosa Parks and all of the people that have died. And like Ruby that went to school as a young girl, and what all she had to go through. And all those things they don't want us to look at and be proud of. And so we have to make sure that we are knowledgeable of our history. And we can't do that if we allow them to take our history out of the books or not allow us to know our history. And it's up to us. They're not always going to teach that in the schools, but it's up to us to let our young people know that we have a background to be proud of.
Absolutely.
You know, yes, we were slaves, and yes, but look what was accomplished with a little bit of nothing. Where we are. So we were, you know, as they say, kings and queens before we got here. We have to let our young people know that that's still in us.
And we need to let them know, one of the things that I keep saying all the time, that I graduated from high school in Mississippi and I came here right away. Well, when I went to nursery training, I'm scared to death because all I heard was from down the south that the southern schools were so inferior to these schools. Well, one of the advantages was that I went to an all black school. And they taught us to be proud of who we were. They taught us that there was nobody better than we were, you know. And so when I went to nursery training, I was scared to death because here I've been told how inferior the school system I'm coming from is. And it took me 2 weeks to understand, hey, these folks not any sharper than I am, you know. And that's what we have to do. That's what we have to bring to our children, to let them know that sometimes the financial position that you're in is not in it because your parents were not intelligent enough to do better. It's because of the situation that they were in that did not cause them to do better. But that with what they had, they took the little bit that they had. And that's why sometimes I think that the majority community get a little bit afraid when we start to move up and start to matriculate in society. They look at what we have accomplished and where we came from and how much we had to put into being a success in this world, the way it's set up. And they know that it's an extraordinary thing that we
take a little and make a lot.
That's it. And that we need to be proud of it. And we need to, and that's why I try to teach our children to be proud of who you are.
Even with my grandbabies, they don't get to go to school a day. My daughter probably left us every morning when they get ready to go to school. before they walk out the door, I always tell them, you're smart, you're beautiful, and you can do what? And they holler, anything.
That's it.
And so that's what our young people need to know. They're all smart, they're all beautiful, and they can do anything. And I always tell my grandbabies, because that's what you always taught me, did somebody else do it? And they'll say, yeah, then you can do it.
That's it.
You know, you got 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 eyes, you can do it. If they did it, you can do it. Might take you a little longer.
Yep.
You might get it done a little faster.
Absolutely.
But don't ever think that you can't do it.
That's it.
Because you can.
Absolutely.
You know, where there's a will, there's a way.
That's right.
And so that's what we have to teach our young people. And I think that that's embedded in them, that it just is something that we just have to water and help it manifest. And so we just need the society to know that things are different and we're not going back, and that it doesn't matter if Donald Trump or whoever has a mindset of a dream that they have, a 2025 dream or whatever. We're not going back to the way things used to be. Right.
We because we are going to continue to rise.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Because we are a people who have gone through so much.
And we have a mindset to rise.
And we have a mindset to rise. So I'm saying to you out there, in Columbia land, that we are going to do everything that we can. First thing is that I'm working very hard, and I know that Pamela is doing likewise, to bring this community together, black, white,
exactly,
red, whatever color they may be, to bring this community together, because together we stand, divided we fall. And so with that, I hope that you have enjoyed our program for today. Pamela, you want to close with something for us here?
Well, I do want to just say that I would be remiss before we go off not to speak on the debate. Kamala did an excellent job on the debate against Donald Trump. I don't think that she could have done anything any different. She was very precise. She got to the point. She didn't let Donald Trump bully her nor scare her. And I think that he was kind of lost that day. He was intimidated.
Yes.
He was intimidated. And I think that it showed. And I think that debate showed who the better candidate was.
Well, there's no question about it to begin with. But one of the things that, even with the news media, they keep saying is that she has to introduce herself. She has to introduce herself. She has already well introduced herself. She has already shown that she knows what the issues are. And she's already known that she has the stigma to hang in there and fight to get things done. And she has introduced, what those things that she will do, her policies and procedures, if she is elected president of the United States. And she can tell them to you, and she can spell out to you how she plans to move forward with those. And she knows that she's got a tough road to hoe, because she's got Congress and the Senate to deal with. But power, the presidency of the office of the presidency have lots of power.
Right.
And if we give her the opportunity, I believe that she will move forward, because she is not concerned about, they tried to deal with her on race. She will not deal with them on, she thinks that's ridiculous, as do I. It doesn't matter what color you are. It doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman. If you're able to carry out the policies that are here, and she has proven that she has demonstrated and she has the capability to do that. So she did an outstanding job, and she has been doing an outstanding job. And I'm so glad that when he talks about, the laughing hyena, I'm so glad that she keeps that smile going, because it is contagious. And it says a lot about who she is and what she is capable of doing, how serious she can be about the situation, and also how happy she can be about situations of things that she can be able to accomplish if she becomes the president of the United States. So keep on smiling, girl.
Right, and I think she's ready day one. And I look at Trump and the things that he says. I think that one thing that really, really just kind of got to me with him was when the governor that's running in Georgia, and he said that he was like MLK on steroids.
Oh,
I felt like that was an insult.
it was an insult
To Martin Luther King, to his family, and to us in the Black community, to think that
and Al Sharpton
that individual was anywhere or anything like Martin Luther King. But that was
just because he was black.
Just because he was black, and he thought that was a way to relate to the African American community, as he did with the golden tennis shoes, and the other things that he has tried to put out to lure African Americans in. And so I just want him to know that we're not falling for the hype. We're not falling for the game that we know that is being played, that we're going to be out there telling individuals that they need to look at the differences in the candidates
and the
policies, and that they need to vote for what's going to be in the best interest, not just for African Americans, but for us as a country.
Absolutely.
The United States of America. And if they were to vote that way, then it will affect us as African Americans the same as it will affect white America. And we can live in harmony and help this country grow to be what is already a great place to be even better.
Yes.
And so that's what we're striving for. We're striving to get rid of the negativity, to get rid of the racism, and to try to move this country forward, all on one accord.
And we want to say to those who talk about, immigrants, etc., that this country, this is our country. We love our country. We will fight for our country.
Right.
And its principles. Okay? And so they just need to know this is our country.
Right.
And so we will do everything that we can to protect it.
That's right.
From whomever it is that's trying to tear it down, trying to make a different country out of it, a country where we have dictators and we have kings and queens.
And this country is like anything else. Just like with us, we're not perfect as individuals. This country is not perfect.
No.
And by no means is it perfect. But we have a democracy, a country that has an opportunity to make things better. And so that's what we're striving for, is the opportunity to move forward from where we are and make things better, not to go back or make things worse.
Right.
And so that's what we're striving for. Not that this is a perfect country,
and to have
but
people,
it's our country, and we have to make it better.
Yeah. And to have people love one another, to be concerned about one another when people are having problems, to be concerned about, not to be so happy and so glad to call out the faults of everybody, but to see what kinds of things that we can do to make things better for those people who fall into those dilemmas. So our thing is that we ought to care about, are we our neighbor's keepers? Yes, we are.
We want to see the light. We don't want the darkness.
We do not want the darkness.
We don't the gloom and the negativity, and who wants to wake up to that? I always tell people that, who do you want to come and sit at your table? Do you want a sad story? Do you want somebody that's gonna be there, like smiling and giving you good news and trying to move forward and work to make things better? And so it's not perfect, but it's better.
It's better.
And so we need to look at our candidates and go with what we know is better. And with that being said, we're probably running out of time.
And so we can just say this before we leave. It's just do the right thing.
Do the right thing.
Do the right thing. Okay?
Do the right thing. We have now come to the time of our program where we ask you if you had any questions that you might want answered. One of the questions that we have is, do you think that Kamala and Trump should have a second debate? You think they should have a second debate?
I certainly think they should have a second debate. There's a lot of questions that have not been answered. We have not really heard Mr. Trump's policies spelled out for us. Kamala has spelled hers out, and we would like to hear what he. And so, yes, I think a second debate is needed.
I'm also eager for them to have a second debate. I believe there were some questions that he was asked, and he was basically saying that he had things pending that he wanted to do. I want to know what those things that are pending are, because I don't want to vote for something that's pending. And so that's not the term that he used, but that's what he meant. And so I would love for them to have a second debate.
So actually did say pending.
Did he say pending? Okay, yes. Well, I'm eager for them to have a second debate because I think that all the issues need to be put out on the table so that the American people can make a sound judgment.
Informed decision.
And so I am hoping that that takes place. I don't see it happening, but I'm hoping that we see that take place. Another question that we have is, how do we feel about the indictment of the mayor of New York City?
Mm-hmm. And with that, I was saying that I just feel that everybody should get equal justice. Mm-hmm. And because we don't know, we know what happens many times with folks African American folks in office and how they get mistreated, etc., and treated differently. And all we're saying is that we want to see a fair investigation. Mm-hmm. And if there was an indictment, if there's a trial, a fair trial for the individual, because right now we don't know what has all that has transpired until an investigation is out, and he promises us that will be out, and we know that the clergy were out in full force behind him in New York, the black clergymen. And so if that many black clergy folks are for him, something is not clean in the whole thing, you know.
Yeah, we don't know if he's innocent or guilty,
right?
But we do know that we think that he needs to have a fair trial. He was indicted, and if he goes to trial, a fair trial.
And I'm glad he's not stepping down, so that the full investigation will need to play out.
So we just want him to be treated fairly. We know that there has been other people that have been indicted, and things have gone differently because of them running for office and different positions as to who they are. And so we just want to make sure that it's not something that they're just running loosely with and chasing after someone because he is a black African American man that is mayor of New York City.
Yes.
And so we want to make sure that whatever's done, that it is done fair, proper, decent, and in order.
Absolutely.
And the truth of the matter is